Hello, YouTube. We're Airsoft DC.
This is Aaron Connor with Airsoft DC, and today we have a comparison video between the A&K SVD and the Classic Army SVD. Why don't you talk about the A&K?
Well, the A&K, I believe, quality-wise, is a better overall gun. I mean, there's absolutely nothing that can go wrong. Not only, aside from me not being able to pull it back, with that action, nothing can go wrong with that action. Not only that, but I mean, the whole pop-up chamber, even though, actually it is metal, so, I mean, there's nothing that can fail about that. Plus, I mean, it's good quality metal. It's not breaking. It may look a bit crappy with the paint, but aside from that, it's actually pretty good. That's all you.
Alright. Well, as far as the Classic Army is concerned, I think the overall finish, if you can see that, is a bit better. It's a bit more shiny, it looks a bit more like, looks a bit more realistic. But, unlike the A&K, this happens to be an AEG, which means that it runs on a battery, and it, uses a motor and a gearbox and all that, which means that more things can go wrong. So if you do have to worry about reliability, the Classic Army may have a problem. Also, there's this really annoying bit that the furniture here has to come apart in two pieces to hold the battery, which the A&K doesn't. It's a one-piece front furniture. So this is kind of ugly and annoying, I find, but overall it's okay. So I think the finish is better, and the fact that it is semi-automatic, which is more realistic, as opposed to that one, which is you have to pull back the bolt every time. Also, I think the finish on the bolt's better too, but the bolt itself, it's not hard to pull back because it doesn't actually control any pistons or anything. But there are more things that can go wrong, and I do have found in my brief inspection that the little pieces of the gun, like the trigger guard and the front sight post, are made out of really cheap pot metal, so they do have a tendency to break. You can see the front sight here, the rear sight here already broke. This part here is loose.
Oh, and even the actual hop-up chamber and all that, where it actually feeds?
Yeah, that's
broke too.
That's broken. So I think quality-wise, it's actually not quite as good, which, given the fact that this is supposed to compete with King Arms, and that it's over 400, it's nearly
and
400,
real sword.
And real sword, and it's, what, $450? More?
Yeah.
So, just by that alone, I think the little pieces that break make it all the worse, and I feel like I'd be really disappointed if I spent that much money on something that little things break off of, but I'm sure it can be replaced, but it just feels like if I'm going to spend that much money, I feel like I should get something that's a bit higher quality. Now, this one costs a lot less. It's annoying that it's spring-powered as opposed to this one, but in the end, I think it's better. And this has a lower FPS given the fact that it's a normal AEG spring, as opposed to this one, which also uses an AEG spring, but a heavier one at that. So you'd have to do some internal upgrades to get it to fire much more. But I guess, you know what, if I had the money, I'd save up the extra amount and get the real sword. That's just me. What about you?
I'm gonna have to agree all the way with it. I mean, even though this is a spring rifle, I mean, it kind of encompasses the whole, it's a sniper thing within that. So, I mean, I guess that's good. Yeah, it does take AEG springs, which means if you're in like a CQB type scenario, but you want to be kind of in the back and not want to, put a round actually under someone's skin, you can just go, okay, spend 5 minutes, swap out the spring and all that, and you're good to go. Yeah, the finish on the bolt, I think, is a little subdued and could be a bit brighter, like the Classic Army. But, it kind of adds, I guess, in a way, a bit more stealthiness to it. So, I guess that's a good thing. The one complaint I do have about this rifle is that it does have the correct SVD side mounting scope rail. However, it cannot fit that because you have to do a bunch of dremeling because somehow during the casting or milling they screwed it up and it's too thick around there, so you have to dremel that out. So that's honestly my only complaint. So that makes the cheek rest useless.
So yeah, as you have noticed, there are a few extra things on these guns. The bipod, which is on the A&K, which is not standard issue, but then have the PSOP scope.
That actually you can buy with the gun. That's why it costs more.
With the rail mount on the side here, which does fit it. So unless you want to do the extensive dremeling, I suppose this is nice. But that's cheaper, so I can just fix that and then put the scope on it. Overall, I think for the price, the Classic Army one might be a bit more disappointing, but that's just my opinion. Other than the nicer finish, the fact that the scope fits, and the fact that it's semi-auto, yeah, I'd get the real sword.
Now, here's the thing. A&K recently, like within the past 6 months, I think, came out around April or so, came out with their own AEG SVD. Now, it was essentially the almost exact clone of the real sword, except that, you know, of course the internals are a bit hairy and, you know, stuff like that, so it's not as good. But nonetheless, they came out with their own. It was full wood furniture, just like the real sword, and even came with the scope, and that was like a $250 value you could buy it for. And I've actually heard really good things about it. So even then, if you're looking for an affordable SVD, you might want to try that out. I'd actually love to see a review on one. I believe they were limited edition, but nonetheless, the only real good thing about the Classic Army is the finish, the scope, and the semi-auto. And
but apparently you can get one of those for a lot cheaper now.
Yeah, and the only good thing about this is the reliability, the fact that the handguards aren't falling apart and feel cheap.
The price.
Huh?
The price.
Yeah, the price. The fact that the sights aren't screwed, and, you know, it actually comes with a leather cheek rest. So I believe that's a very good thing about this rifle. So if you're looking for a very affordable rifle, you know, that holds all the airsoft sniping values that we all have come to love and cherish, then get the A&K. Yeah, we're not snipers.
And if you're looking for a high quality, expensive AEG semi-auto SVD, get the real sword.
Or if you want one of those medium value ones, try the A&K. I honestly have no opinion about it because I've never seen it
or shot it
or anything. But from what I hear, it is pretty good. So you may want to give it a chance. So here.
Alright. So that's our comparison video between the two. And well, this is Arrow and Connor with Airsoft DC. And have a nice day.